It's that time of year, folks. We have to get ready for draft season, get ready for all of your fantasy football drafts, and you can't do it without some information. So we're here to break down the AFC West. What's happening, everybody? Here we go, divisional breakdown time. We've got 8 episodes full of stuff, and this one is starting off. It's the AFC West. It's too much fantasy football here. It's Brian, it's Brendan. How you doing today, man?
Oh, there's nothing like trying to put your child down, and then you're just walking to the bedroom, and there's dog throw up everywhere. So that's why my day's starting off so far.
Nice. You had to put the newspaper down and walk away, and wife will be getting it later, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Make it her responsibility.
Big Daddy style. That's exactly. We're gonna get on a tangent on poop, and that's not what we're gonna get on here. Exactly. We're gonna hit the brakes there. Pull the e-brake, folks. Let's get back into the football mode. But yeah, we've got 4 teams to go over. It's the Chiefs, it's the Chargers, it's the Broncos, it's the Raiders. Before we get that, we haven't really unboxed some of the news that hit us last week. Back-to-back trades. I mean, because what else happens at the end of June, into the beginning of July? It's trade season, and they're moving. They're making things happen. Of course, Aaron Rodgers officially with the Steelers, so let's get him some weapons. Jonnu's on the move, huh?
Yeah, it's a little interesting trade. Like, they made this, right before training camp. You'd think they kind of make this before, training camp, before the draft, kind of like, make their adjustments. But I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. I mean, I think they got better, I guess. Like, they got Minka. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey, who's a little bit older. I mean, Jonnu's, he got a pay raise, so good for him. But like, how do you look at this from a fantasy perspective? For me, it's like Tyreek Hill gets a really big bump, Jalen Waddle gets a bump, Pat Freiermuth, like, you can just forget about him; he's irrelevant. I think DK kind of stays the same, and then whoever is the wide receiver 2 for the Steelers, I think stays the same too.
For the most, yeah, Steelers, I don't really see a whole lot of movement. Jonnu, I think now is if you were on the fence whether he was going to be a starter or a streamer this year, he's officially in that streaming category. Freiermuth's going to have some streamability too, but I'm not going to be rolling the dice figuring that out. I think the biggest winner here is going to be Waddle. Of course, the confidence in Tyreek is growing as his ADP is shooting up boards right now. But Waddle, like, talk about a safety valve for the guy. I think that's he's going to turn into that as well, taking over that role that Jonnu had last year. And I think the Dolphins lost across the board on this. Steelers, I think this was a great move for him. Ramsey's getting older, but I think they're going to be putting him in the slot, maybe make it a little bit easy for him. Some of those older guys can slowly transition down, maybe make some move to safety at some point. Fills in for Minka, who knows? But I think the Steelers are doing what they have to do to cheaply put together a Super Bowl push with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're all in now. I mean, I think now they're kind of just waiting to see what they do with TJ. I doubt TJ's going to walk. I think they're going to give him an extension. He'll probably get a little bit right under Myles Garrett contract money, because they're all in right now. And TJ Watt knows it. Like, you don't bring in Aaron Rodgers without having TJ Watt there as well.
Like, yeah, it's weird to talk about a team that's all in on a Super Bowl, but I don't think their Super Bowl window's open. If those two things can be true,
I think the window's kind of like creeped open. Like, he can kind of like get some air in, but I just like, if you had to, like, would you confidently say like they'd win one playoff game this year?
No.
Like, where's your level at with them? Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be a struggle for them to make the playoffs. That the division is amazing. They're in the AFC North, and then also, like, we've got some other great teams that are sitting there punching into the wild card. So they don't excite me. The defense is good, but it's old too.
Yeah, they have the pieces to go all in. It's just the quarterback isn't the right piece for me.
I can't wait to talk about how he's going to play with DK as well. Any other big news we had? I guess the biggest one of them all. Rap sensation Darren Waller will be hanging up the microphone and the headphones for right now to come back to the NFL. He's being traded, I think it was officially, from the Giants to the Dolphins
for a 6th-round pick
and a 7th. It's a 6-7 swap as well as him coming there. So this is like nothingness on top of nothing. Are you even going to draft him? Like, I can see us. Yeah, I can see us talking about him in week 7, 8, 9. If he's not hurt by then, I could see us talking about him possibly being a streamer. But Not even on the draft board.
The only reason why I guess he came back is because his tight ends coach from the Raiders is there, and I guess he told him to come back. He would only come back, I guess, for Gruden and him, and so I was one of the pieces they got. I mean, I think they'll find ways to make him relevant, but I think they'll force it instead of letting it be kind of like a natural fit, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think when I did my rankings, it's hard to not put him at like tight end 18, just because it's like
Yeah.
they clearly made a move for him. Like they're gonna do something with him. Like there's also part of me, it's like, does he even make it to the roster? Like genuinely.
Yeah, I've got him under 500 yards for the season. I think like 3-ish touchdowns. But if he got cut before, then I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't care. I believe that was part of him talking about retiring. Like he's like, I just don't feel it anymore.
Paul Vontae Davis just retires at halftime. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
See ya, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get into these divisional breakdowns here. It's about all the relevant news. Hopefully, we cover just about all these little small stuff as we get through these divisions. Starting off, we have to go to the Super Bowl champions of 2023 season and the 22 season.
Say, where are we going with this?
But not last year. No, Kansas City. They came up short of their three-peat. Not quite where they wanted to go, but they finished 15-2. It's still a hell of a year. Despite the stink that we might have on them because it wasn't a great showing at the Super Bowl, this is still a 15-2 team. This team did great. They continue to evolve on offense in this post-Tyreek Hill era. So I guess starting off with the team overall, we're projected 11.5 wins. What is your initial feel for the team?
My feel for this team is that I think they're going to try to air out more than what they've done in the past. Like, I think, Rice is back. So there is some news with Rice. His court date is until January 25th of 2026. So he's not being suspended this year. And it's already reflected in best ball. He's going at like pick 19 is the average right now. So there's no discount on Rashee Rice anymore, which is really sad for me.
It is.
Because I'm looking at him like, there's like T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, it's Rashee Rice gets taken every single time. It's insane. So no discount on him anymore. Mahomes is like quarterback 8 right now. And then Worthy's kind of like wide receiver 23-ish. The only real discount is Travis Kelce.
And that's if you want to play that game. And I'm just not out. I'm completely out on Travis Kelce this year. Just as far as where the ADP lies, he's in that middle tier of tight end. And I think he's going to be closer to a streamer than a starter,
Yeah, I think there's some juice. I think he's going to have some spiked weeks. And I think other times he's just going to be duds. Like I think it's going to be, the Rashee Rice game where he's the screens. He takes the slants over the middle. Xavier Worthy's there. I think Hollywood Brown's fully healthy. We'll see how long he's healthy for. And then maybe Isaiah Pacheco's back to being 100% healthy. I mean, they said that it was basically going to be impossible for him to come back healthy after that injury. Do you think Pacheco's a discount?
I have been going back and forth on that all season, or all best ball season, all summer, because part of me thinks, yeah, absolutely. Like compared to where he was going last year, what he should give us, I really think he is. But they brought back Kareem Hunt again. They traded for Elijah Mitchell, and then Brashard Smith, 7th round pick. I think this is another player that's at the detriment of how deep this rookie class was. So probably could have had maybe closer to 5th round draft, into the 5th versus his 7th round capital. But he's getting a lot of steam. Like right now, there's quotes going crazy out of like Reed just talked about because he's a converted wide receiver. So from Reed, he's like, I like Brashard Smith, what he does. He's good speed and he's a good route runner. So already we're getting that hype of like, oh my gosh, is this one of the last round picks that I want to grab? Do I want to take a stab at this? And discount, it's always going to be a good pick because it's so deep. But Pacheco is just not one that I find myself clicking often.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, it's hard for best ball for me. Like, I'm taking a lot of Mahomes.
Really? That's interesting.
It's so hard not to, because like I just think that like there is this, it's just this weird thing for me. Like I think the target breakdown last year, it was running backs at 17%, wide receiver at 50%, and tight ends were at 34%. I think that changes a little bit. I don't think they're gonna dink and dunk their way through anymore. I think teams are. I don't want to say not scared of Mahomes anymore. I think they'll start to play kind of like this. Not care. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but I don't think that the too high safety will be as much against them. I think teams will start to try to play a little bit different. And then what did Mahomes do his 2018, 2019 season? He aired the ball out, and he's got guys there that emulate that are just going to be go routes.
I think that's kind of the beauty of how the running game seems to be coming back a little bit more after this past year, which will force them to drop the too high safety look. Like that, that's just the evolution of the game. As we get to throw the ball deep, they put coverage back there to stop that. Well, that means it's weaker up front, so we're going to pound the ball. So it's just an ever going, it's a cycle there. But I think the hardest part about that, I have Mahomes, I think it's 6 right now. So at QB8, that would be a discount, but I don't know if it's a large enough discount for me to really rely on. Like, will he finish at 6? Last year, 76% of their passes were 10 yards or fewer. They were 32nd in the NFL in deep passes, number 1 in screens. Now, it's going to be a little skewed because Rashee Rice, when he comes back, he's great with yards after the catch. So he's not going to have that deep ball presence, which will kind of pull back Mahomes' ADOT. But with that and the running game that should be good, that opens up Worthy for those deep passes as well. And Hollywood Brown. Did we get a single game with all 3 of those guys healthy last year? I don't think we did.
No, Hollywood Brown was injured before the season started.
Yeah, and they were 29th in 11 personnel. So only 48% of the time that they have 3 wide receivers. Well, they didn't have 3 quality wide receivers. So we could see an uptick in that personnel with 3 very fast wide receivers. I mean, Rashee Rice is decently fast, but you've got Hollywood and Worthy that are just absolute speedsters.
Yeah, so that's where I sit with them. Just like I have a hard time seeing them if everybody's healthy. And they drafted in the 4th round pick your boy Royals. Like, he's someone that's a quality player. I mean, 4th round, that's not a ton of draft capital, but it's still something nonetheless. It's a little bit outside the 100, where they usually have their big board of 100 players. But I mean, he's probably creeped in their 100 if I had to guess where he sat at.
And he's already getting hype talks too for like special teams being a smart player. Smart players get on the field, especially after an injury.
Exactly. So I just think for me, I have Mahomes at 5, by the way, on my quarterback rankings. So nice. I'm definitely a little bit higher on him. There's just guys who play this game at an aggressive level and that just want to win and will do anything to win. And Mahomes emulates Tom Brady to me. He's the closest thing that I can see emulating towards Tom Brady. And they'll do anything to win.
And we saw this in the path of Tom Brady's career. Like, he was really good offensively. He absolutely killed it for fantasy. Well, then they couldn't pay the offense anymore, and the defense got better through the draft. So then, like, Tom Brady didn't have to do it. It's fluctuation. In the last couple of years, Mahomes hasn't won for this team. It's been the defense, and he just hasn't screwed it up. Granted, he's played great, but, like, he hasn't had to do as much as he did before. Coming along, they're just having to pay more and more pieces that they've drafted, and he might have to do a little bit more. Let's go bad defense. We love that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're a little bit older. I mean, they did lose Joe Tooney, which was, I think that's the biggest surprise. They gave him for a 4th rounder. He's been nothing but elite for them.
It's the money, I'm sure, because he got a new contract. I believe it's over $26 million a year.
Yeah, they had a big choice between paying him and Trey Smith, and I think obviously Trey Smith's a little bit younger, which I understood that, but like, it just kind of weird to me that like you're still in this window of a Super Bowl, and like you could have kept Thuney for 1 more year and then paid Trey Smith and let Thuney walk. I mean, granted, a 4th round pick is still something nonetheless, but still, I just felt like you're in the Super Bowl window, keep the talent, but
positional spending wise, they are number 2 in the NFL on this offensive line this year, $81 million. So I mean, they can't allocate too much more to them.
Yeah, but the problem is they spent a lot of money on the left tackle who can't play left tackle.
Juwan Taylor.
Yeah, Juwan Taylor, because he's always false starting.
Yeah, absolutely worst in the league as far as false starts on the offensive line. So you do still have to keep an eye out on that. But their 1st round tackle reports are he should be good to go when we hit camp in a couple weeks.
I mean, had he not been injured, he'd have been a top 10 pick apparently. So.
Which of course he fell down to him.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I guess anything else you want to hit on before we get out of Kansas City?
Any chance that Noah Gray is something this year? Any chance to you?
I don't think there's a 0% chance that he doesn't do it. Like
Yeah.
there's a chance. There's absolutely a chance. I've been taking him in best ball. Like when I'm doing some sort of Kansas City S stack, I'm putting it in there because we saw it last year. It was like 4 touchdowns in 3 games or some sort of madness like that. Am I drafting him for my redraft? Absolutely not. But I will be
Yeah.
keeping an eye on him come to waiver wire season.
I think Kareem Hunt's the goal line back this year. That's
If
what I'll say.
if you're wishing that upon us, you're just hating us all. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Uh, Coming off of a low red zone efficiency at 55% too, we can hope that maybe that'll convert a little bit more. But if Kareem Hunt gets that, plus we have Rashard Smith catching a little bit and Pacheco, it's going to be a headache for the Chiefs, for
Yeah.
us playing Chiefs anyway. Before we leave them, 11.5 is the over under for their wins. You taking the over?
I am, man. It's they only hit it. They didn't hit it in 2023, but 2024 15-2, 2022 14-3. All Mahomes does is win, man. Like I know they have a tough schedule. The Chargers, Eagles, the Giants, Ravens, Jags. But I look at it. I'm just like, I just see 12 wins. It's gonna happen.
Next up, we have Denver. This is a 10-7 team last year. Made the playoffs with rookie sensation Bo Nix. Their over under this year is 9.5 wins. We've got second year offensive coordinators and head coach bringing everybody back. Bo Nix, we've got excitement for this sophomore step up if he should have one. Give me your first reaction to this team.
I think it's one of those that like this defense is like the highlight of this team. They added Greenlaw, they added Tuafunga, their safety. They're bringing back the defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain. I think they're making it to where Bo Nix's life is a little bit easier. Bringing in Evan Engram as a tight end. They spent a really high draft capital on RJ Harvey, who was kind of the surprise pick for most fantasy players. And then Pat Bryant, who's been getting, correlations of Michael Thomas Jr. This team is like they did the right things in the offseason.
From Sean Payton, we got to take that sometimes with a grain of salt what they're doing. But yeah, he's big on talking up some of these players. Yeah, across the board, this team looks good. As far as rankings out there, their front seven's number 2 in the league. Their offensive line is number 2 in the league, and the secondary is supposed to be the best in the league. So unfortunately, I don't know how many shootouts we're going to get in if this defense is really holding them tight. But I don't know. I was really excited about this team overall. There's a bunch of pieces I want, but I feel pessimistic about this team. Even though they're coming in 9.5 wins, it's not overly crazy to call them, a 10-win team this year. But I think I'm a little reserve on. Let's start with the quarterback then. I guess Bo Nix going in there early, right there in the top 10, QB7-ish, depending on what platform you're looking at. What are your thoughts there with Bo Nix?
He's QB8 for me. It's hard not to rank him like lower, I guess, so to speak. He uses his legs, man. We didn't really see that at Oregon as much, and then all of a sudden this dude's just scrambling left and right. And I like Courtland Sutton. I think he's the guy I want to draft the most out of this team. He's the lone proven wide receiver. But it's really hard when you look at Bo Nix and what he did last year, and it's like, well, now he's the second year under the belt with Sean Payton. It's only going to get better. I doubt he has really some sort of regressions. He might have a bad game here and there, but Sean Payton made it very simple for him for this offense after a couple of weeks. He very much adjusted his play calling for him, and it worked. So I have a hard time seeing this sophomore regression because they did the right things this offseason. They bulked up the O-line. They made the defense stronger. They did the right things.
So right around him, you've got Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff going just above him. I'd take Bo Nix in that situation just because he would be cheaper. I've got Goff way lower.
Yeah.
Then you have Kyler, you've got Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and then you get names that I really like Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Dak Prescott. No knock on Bo Nix, but I think I'd rather draft guys where they don't have to meet that expectation, whereas he is looking to meet that expectation.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the separator for Bo Nix for me is where your scoring is for passing touchdowns. If it's 4 points for passing touchdown, I have Bo Nix a little bit higher. If it's 6 points, I have him a little bit lower, just because I think like him and Baker are kind of like the same person. They'll probably rush for right around the same amount of yards. Same with like Kyler. I think Kyler uses legs a little bit more, but I think that's what the separation is for tiers for me, is that 4 points per passing touchdown. Like, but I'd rather have Bo Nix than, I would say, like Trevor Lawrence, Goff, even Fields. I just don't believe in Fields as much this year. Same with Stroud and all those other guys. So
Bo Nix was also 54% on his red zone incompletions were due to inaccurate passes. So hopefully that's not a trend of just poor accuracy, and that's something that he can improve on this year, because if that does, that really bodes well for guys like Courtland Sutton. Evan Ingram's never been a huge touchdown guy. If he is, I think it's amazing. If not, I'm really leaning into Courtland Sutton this year. I've had to like temper expectations and pull him out of like the top 16, 18, because that's just me overly projecting touchdowns. But if he gets them, if he continues to bring them in like he did last year, this guy could be an absolute steal in drafts.
yeah, I think my biggest question is like, are you going to take RJ Harvey?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, as I get excited with the oh yeahs, I'm not going to be pushing the button every single time. Across all my leagues, I'm going to make sure I've got a diverse grasping of this player, because I like his backbait too. Like J.K. Dobbins, are you kidding? Where he's going, you can't tell me that there's not a chance that he is the absolute stud for the first 3 weeks. As R.J. Harvey maybe gets acclimated, gets some working in there. We saw him do it just last year, so I really like J.K. Dobbins and his ADP. But yeah, I'm completely fine with R.J. Harvey and where he's going.
Yeah, I think I'm taking Dobbins before I take Harvey this year, just because like I know he's going to get usage. I know they're going to split that backfield up. I think maybe Harvey gets a little bit more, but I know Dobbins is going to get work in. Who I'm not drafting is Marvin Mims, Deshaun Vele. I can't take their. I don't know who their wide receiver 2 is, because I just don't think they have a wide receiver 2 on this team. Like Troy Franklin, like, I think these are all really good wide receiver 3s. That's how I look at it.
I don't mind the speculative ad on Marvin Mims. Late in leagues, if you're, maybe you took wide receivers early. 2 of your first 3 picks, 3 of your first 4 or 5 are wide receivers. So you kind of just clean it up with wide receivers at the end. I think he's a guy I wouldn't mind doing there, just to see where he's at on the team for the first 2 weeks, and it's an easy drop if so. But, I mean, we kind of talked about Sean Payton. He loves to glow up his guys, and that's what he's done with Marvin Mims. So I think there's a chance we could really see something special from this kid who is immensely talented.
Yeah, I will say like Ingram's in that like tight end purgatory area, but I actually like him the most in that purgatory area of the other guys. So like if I start to see him fall, I'll take him more often. I think, with them paying him money, they go out and, sought after him, like, and they didn't draft a tight end either, which they could have easily done. I kind of, I'm kind of falling for Engram a little bit more. He's definitely rising on my boards.
It's wild how him and Njoku have been like linked like this since, I mean, most of their career. I mean, Engram blew up his first one. Njoku, it took him 5 years before he really did. But especially the last 3 or 4 seasons, they consistently sit together in ADP in that tight end ghost area. But I like both of them. I'll take a swing on either one of them if I don't take a high end tight end like the first 3 guys.
I can't take Njoku. I just can't. Sorry, guys.
I guess what else? Any other thing you have for the Broncos before we head out of here?
Not really. The only thing I can think of is that, how high do you think Sutton finishes this year? I think you and I are both big Sutton fans. Where do you think he finishes as wide receiver? What's his ceiling?
I think his ceiling is wide receiver 12, wide receiver 14.
Okay.
I think he definitely could, especially like I said, if those touchdowns kind of get honed in a little bit more. If he gets 3, 4 more touchdowns, I think that's definitely in the realm of possibilities with where this team could be, the positive game scripts. At the same time, though, we want to run the ball. We like to throw the ball to the running backs as well. So I have him right there around wide receiver 20. I think I've got him a little above where his ADP is, so I think he's a decent value. But, this isn't going to be a top 5 guy.
No, I will. If worst comes to worst, if he ends up as my wide receiver 2, I'm actually not that scared. I actually am like, oh, this is not terrible, because I know he's going to get a bunch of targets. So but yeah, I have him at wide receiver 28. I think he finishes a lot higher than that.
If he's your wide receiver 2, that means the rest of your team's pretty studly, and I don't mind that. I would be willing to go through the sweats that you'd get from him, even though he's he's probably going to get you a touchdown most weeks. Like
Yeah,
a David Montgomery light.
I can see that.
So what do we say? This team is at 9.5 on the over under. Who do you have taking it?
I think I'm taking it, man. Like I think they split well, hold on. The real question is, do they finally beat a Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs team this year?
Because I think Denver's done it like once since Patrick Mahomes has
No,
been there. Oh,
never.
they've never done it.
They've never beaten Patrick Mahomes. They beat the Chiefs last year, but that was against Carson Wentz and all the backups. Remember, because they had the blocked field goal to win the game.
They can get one. Come on, they can get one. This defense is good.
Dude, there's just some dudes that are just like, they just own that team, man. I know what it feels like too. Trust me, as a Colts fan, I like the Jags. Anytime we go to the Jacksonville, it's just down and awful. But
they play week 17 in Kansas City. They play in Denver week 11.
Yeah,
I feel like if they played at home in week 17, they'd have a better shot. So yeah, they're gonna have to upset them there in week 11.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think they get 10 wins. I see 10 wins here. I think they're a playoff team again.
This is one of those fringe ones I really wanted to take the under because I didn't like my choices across these 4 teams in this division. But yeah, I'm going to be taking the over too. I think they
just have a nice stretch after week 5. They have a pretty nice stretch of games where I'm like, okay, I could see it. They can start racking up some wins.
Jets, Giants, Cowboys, Texans, Raiders. They could clean those up on that hot streak. Maybe they go into that Kansas City game in there in week 11 and get themselves another
before
win.
the bye. Yeah,
they've got some winnable games in here for sure. Screw it. Let's take the over. We're doing it.
Yep.
We're doing it, folks. Next up, to that beautiful city. Well, the beautiful weather of the city. I've never actually been, so I don't know how pretty it is. But let's go to Los Angeles. Let's check out the Chargers, the home of multiple teams, but not the Rams. We're not talking about them today. No. This team went 11-6. Harbaugh, the now second-year coach, took them to the playoffs. Did about what the Chargers usually do in the playoffs. It's a big nothing there. Greg Roman coming back as offensive coordinator. You got the defensive coordinator coming back as well. Not a bad stretches for this schedule. I think that they've got a decent chance of making some headway outside of that week 1 matchup against Kansas City, but quite a bit of changes came to this offensive as far as the fantasy pieces. So give me your first thoughts on this team.
I mean, I was kind of shocked they went out and they spent the first round pick on Amari and Hampton. We both love Amari and Hampton because they signed Najee. So we're like, all right, they're probably going to draft a guy day 2, one of the guys they really, really like. But no, they went for it. They said, no, we're going to be a run first team. And they're really sticking to it, man. So, I mean, we both love the pick for Dynasty. I think he's going to be a stud for years to come. It's just a matter of like, how high is too high taking Amari and Hampton, because we know Najee is going to get some work this year.
Oh, man, it's so hard. It is so hard because you and I, since we got back from the Combine, have been pumping up some Amari and Hampton, like just so excited for what he's going to bring us in the NFL. I took him in Dynasty, took him at number 2 overall, but I took him with a rebuilding team, knowing that he's going to be amazing in 2026. I am not sold that 2025 is going to be the year that he just blows the handle, because Najee coming over there, a very cheapish deal. I believe it's like $4.5 million is what he's going to make. He could make a little bit more with some incentives, but he's going to be involved. Like they're 100%. They're not going to give just everything to Hampton. So between that and the fact that we don't really see a lot of passes designed going to the running backs in Greg Roman's offense, I don't know if I necessarily like the price. I think I'd rather take a swing on Najee Harris as far as the ADP goes.
Yeah, I think a lot of the home leagues that I play in, unfortunately, I have a few Chargers fans in each of those. So like, every year I know my home leagues well enough where I just take off those guys. Like last year, Ladd went like 2 rounds above ADP. This guy's going to go for sure above 2 rounds ADP. I will not draft him in any of my home leagues. I'll have to be taking him in other leagues that I'm not, just like random little fill-in leagues. But I would love to own Hampton this year because, like, I had a friend of mine saying, like, how much better is Amari and Hampton than Najee? And I was like, oh, I think he's light years ahead of him. He's like,
so much.
And that's where he just stood to me and said, like, so by what week is he going to take over? Are you really going to say by week 2, week 3, week 4? I was like, I said by like, I honestly think by week 5 he will be leading that backfield in touches, like confidently.
I sure hope so, but I could see it being a 60-40 split.
Yeah.
You know, I could still see Najee going in there, being the thumper, and going in there and scoring the touchdowns, which could really upset your day for Amari and Hampton if he's, you know, walking away with 75 yards and, you know, he doesn't get the touchdown, or 90 yards and he doesn't get the touchdown. So he's going as RB18 right around, like, I like Alvin Kamara there at running back 16.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker's a little higher at 15, but I really like him. Chuba Hubbard's going behind him at 19. I'd take James Conner at 20.
Yep.
I think
James
over Hampton.
Conner for sure. Yeah.
Pacheco's at 22. Montgomery 21.
That's where I
RJ.
started to take Hampton before those guys.
Yeah. I think once you really dig into like the Pachecos, the Jones, the RJ Harveys, the Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
So
Like I just can't, because Hampton or Amari's just better than them. Like flat out just better than them.
yeah,
talent wise.
absolutely. It's across the board. It's the pass catching. It's the running. Like, this is a do it all running back. This is a bell cow guy.
Yeah.
Let me see here. So wide receivers, we've got Ladd, of course, the rookie that just absolutely dominated. I believe the 11th highest rookie finish in fantasy in the last like 15 years, something like that. So great there. They spent a day 2 pick on Trey Harris, pretty big wide receiver, complements Ladd really well. QJ continues to get hype out of camp. 3rd year, first round pick for him. He showed progress last year. Granted, it's not hard to do that when you have a bad rookie season, but you can't say that he's been written off altogether. And then Tyler Conklin, the tight end coming in there, age 53 now. But he's getting hype videos. Mr. Tattoo's out there just going back and forth, and I guess he's got hype videos on his route running, so he'll be a part of the offense. I'm going to bring him up on the streamers. I know it, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's going to get mentioned. I mean, he's the only their rookie tight end, I will say, is getting a lot of mention right now. It's Gadsden. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to butcher it, but he's getting a lot of promise at the rookie camp. I will say, I think Ladd's being a little overhyped in value for wide receivers. Like,
yeah,
he's taken as usually like wide receiver 10. I think you're taking him at a ceiling.
See,
can you really see him finishing as wide receiver, like a top 5 receiver?
I can, but that's only because I also look at it under the lens that, you know, we got usually 2 to 5 ACL tears every year. So, like, that's with baking in injury and all that stuff. I think that there could be stuff that happens there in a PPR league, but I would never put my money there. You know, I would never say that he's going to beat Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, probably Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors are in that breath as well.
He's just not better than them. Like, I have like Nico Collins. Like, I can't see him doing better than Nico Collins.
And this offense isn't going to just absolutely feed him 170 targets.
Yeah,
you know, they want to run the ball.
This offense, yeah,
they want to run the ball.
The focal point is Najee and Amari and Hampton. They want to make the receivers' lives easier. But I will own probably 0% of Ladd in redraft. And
it's like his size too. He's had injury concerns back in college. You know, he's not the biggest guy ever. So can he withhold a 150 target workload? Probably not, and probably not sustain it for multiple years unless he turns into Tyler Lockett and just drops it as soon as he gets it. You know, So I'm not anti Ladd McConkey. I think he's very talented. I think he's a great player. I'd love to have him on my team. I just probably won't. He goes right behind AJ Brown. I am not taking Ladd over AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown has shown me he's a top 3 receiver in the league.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill's going right past him. I think Garrett Wilson's in that same neighborhood. I think Ladd's probably safer. Garrett Wilson. Talented. But I think Ladd's probably safer than Garrett Wilson on a consistent basis. I think on a consistent basis.
Because Garrett Wilson has had 1,000 yards with crap at quarterback.
He has, but Justin Fields is new crap. He's had old crap. Now this is new crap.
Yeah, this new crap is also his college quarterback, and he was his best season under. So, like, I get that. I think for me, it's just like I can't see a world where his ceiling is top 5. I can't. Even with ACL injuries and missed games, it's just this team wants to run the crap out of the ball, and I just don't think he is a part of it. I'd love him in PPR, sure, but like let me ask you this: are you confident having Ladd being your wide receiver 1 in any format?
No, absolutely not. That's why I won't have him, because I just thought I want to build my team.
Yeah.
That's just not how I want to. But yeah, he's probably going to be out there. He's going to be out there with Trey Harris a good amount. QJ could be involved, but this is a team that, honestly, like the Chargers, were number 2 in 22 personnel. That puts one wide receiver out there on the field. It's probably not going to be the slot guy.
Yeah, probably not. Just saying.
So yeah, not knocking him. I think he's not exactly a value, and that's usually what I look to grab. Trey Harris, he's another guy in the same breath of like Marvin Mims, one of your last picks. But I think he could have some value, or at least I'd like him to be on my team so I could see where that value kind of develops.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else you got to say about the Chargers there?
I'm looking at their win totals, right?
9.5.
9.5. Their back end of the season is rough.
That's what I was about to bring up. Last 5 games.
It is they have a gauntlet, man. Like
they're home to Philly. They're in Arrowhead. They're in Dallas, and then home to Houston, and they finish off in Mile High with the Broncos.
And the Denver might need to win that game. Like that might be a win and get in for the playoffs for either team.
Yeah, both of them could be competing for that last spot. It'll be a rough one. 9.5. I'm going to take the over for the Chargers myself. I think 10-11 wins.
I'm going to take the under. The under. I think they go 9-8. I'm looking at schedule. I think it's 9-8.
If they can get 3-5 in the first 5 games, because they play Kansas City, the Raiders, the Broncos.
But the Kansas City game's in Brazil, so I don't even count that as a home game.
But I think it's just crazy enough that they could win that one. We saw how swampy it is down there in Brazil in that field, and all it's going to take is a few plays where guys are slipping down and falling.
Ask Chargers fans how they feel about playing Mahomes every year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But they can't be hurt that bad. They had Phillip Rivers forever.
Yeah, that went really well for them.
Well, I mean, he let them down constantly, so I'm sure they're used to it. So I'm taking the over, you're taking the under.
I'm taking the under.
All righty. Well, that's quite the gamble, and there's no place better to gamble than Vegas, baby. Last team we have here, it's the Las Vegas Raiders, 4-13 last year. Absolutely horrible. They said, scrap it. We're cleaning up. We're moving. I mean, they cleaned house, folks. They got rid of some stuff. Pete Carroll coming out of retirement to come head coach the Las Vegas Raiders. Chip Kelly, a college champion now from the Ohio State Buckeyes, coming in back to the NFL to call some plays. Defensive coordinator. There's no relevance there that we need to talk about. Quite a bit of moves, though. They traded for Geno Smith, so he is at the helm as far as their quarterback position goes. Drafted Ashton Gentry in the top 6 of the NFL, and of course they have their pass catchers are all the same with Myers, Bowers, and a 2nd-round pick Jack Besh, and 4th-round pick Deontay Thornton. So go ahead, break it down for me. What are your first thoughts here with this Raiders team?
I think you and I both are under the same idea that Jacoby Myers is not the sexiest pick, but damn, it's going to really pay dividends later on. I think he was one of the only receivers that had 0 drops the entire year last year. And he's going as wide receiver?
40.
I think on my 40. Yeah, he blows it out of the water.
Yeah, he's going in round 8 in most platforms, round 10 in Superflex leagues, but that's great. So you're telling me this is like my wide receiver 3, 4, maybe wide receiver 5, and this guy is not the number 1 target on his team, but he's the number 1 wide receiver on his team, and he will be the whole season.
Yeah.
Love Myers. Absolutely love Myers. Not a sexy pick, folks. We get it. You're probably thinking, wait, who is this guy again? No, he finished just fine last year. Top 24 wide receiver.
Yeah, and it was with crap at quarterback, too, and he got a major upgrade. Who's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, Geno's number 2 on this accuracy over the last 2 years. So I think that's kind of an upgrade. So granted, this team they're not projected to win a whole lot. It's 6.5 games is what they're projected to win, but they're going to be competitive, more competitive than they were last year. And this defense, it's not great. It's not great, which is good for offensive fantasy, folks.
I was thinking of a team where like it's the scariest wide receivers of like 1, 2, and 3. It's like if you ended up with like Tyreek Hill as your 1, Courtland Sutton as your 2, and Jacoby Myers as your 3. That just means you drafted such studs everywhere else. Because like I'm just trying to think of that like anomaly where that works out. But like, I mean, the biggest elephant in the room though is their rookie running back, number 6 overall, Ashton Gentry. Where are you at with him?
Unfortunately, I like to play devil's advocate when it comes to Ashton Gentry. I think that he is an amazing talent. I'm super excited he's in the NFL. I'm super excited to see him on the Raiders to see what happens there. But I haven't found myself owning a whole lot of Gentry so far this year. Just as far as where the ADP is going. Now, recently there's been a little bit of a shift, but he has gone as usually RB4, right behind Barkley, Robinson, and Gibbs. Now, I'd probably take him over Henry. Maybe flipping a coin depending if it's full PPR or not. But Devon Achane, I have him ranked over. Christian McCaffrey, I've got him ranked over. It's the names like Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Kyron. That's when I want to take him over there.
Yeah.
So I think it's also too spending a first, maybe second round pick on a guy from a team that's got 6 wins projected. It's a little scary.
It is, but it's also Pete Carroll. And what does Pete Carroll love to do? He loves to run the damn football. So I would love him if I had the 12th overall pick and it was on the turn, I would love him at the turn. Because it probably means I lost out on Malik Neighbors. I lost out on if I can walk away with Nico Collins and Ashton Gentry as my 1-2 pick, I'd be pretty excited.
It's not a bad place to start. Not at all. I guess as far as the tight end goes, Brock Bowers, he's also going there usually in that second round somewhere. I mean, I've gotten him anywhere from the beginning to the end. Stud. Absolutely stud of a pick.
He's really good, but do you really want to take him as your meat and potatoes of the team? Because he's the earliest I've seen him go is I have seen him go at 14 in best ball. That's just because of a stack that they're trying to build. But typically I see him go around pick 18 is where I've seen him usually comfortably go. And that's right around the AJ Brown area. I'm still taking AJ Brown before Brock Bowers. At what point are you I have to take Brock Bowers now?
If he gets to the 2-3 turn, I have to take Brock Bowers. 100%, that's when I need to take him if he falls that far. But, we talked about this with Travis Kelce, 2-3-ish years ago. He is 100% a difference maker. And if you're in a tight end premium league, yes, that's when you're definitely pulling the trigger on the guy.
Tight end premium, I'm not even thinking twice about it.
Yeah, he's probably going a lot sooner. But I completely understand where people can just kind of pass on it just purely out of you're putting a lot of eggs in a basket. Not only is anybody can get hurt there in the first or second round, but it's also a position that you're at a deficit. So if you take him there, you're probably not cleaning up with any other tight ends. You're probably not even drafting another. So you're resorted to. I don't know. It's just not usually how I draft. I never took a lot of Kelce in the heyday. I'd have to go trade for him later on if I really wanted to go get him. I really like the Drake London that's going right by him, the Devon Achane, the AJ Brown, the Christian McCaffrey. There's so many other picks that I'm clicking so much faster.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think if you basically you're telling me the team with Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, and then a Josh Jacobs that's what the build would look like for you.
Which would be great. I would be okay if Brock Bowers or Josh Jacobs is my one, if that's my number one. I've got the number one at the two other positions. I'm okay with having a lower end RB1 as my first one. Because then you're coming back at 4-5 and you're still grabbing, a decent wide receiver 2 and running back 2.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think the person who has the number one overall pick probably we lucked out if they got Brock Bowers, but I just think it's so hard to justify taking him at pick 18. Pick 21 and past, it's all right, you got a little bit of a steal on him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. As far as scheme and stuff, I can kind of bring up some of those numbers, but we brought in a whole new head coach, a whole new Chip Kelly, and this is probably not going to be quite the same Chip Kelly that we saw in the NFL before. He loves a very fast pace, but you don't see a lot of fast paced running teams. So if Pete Carroll wants to run the ball as much as he talks about. Before we do, actually, Raheem Mostert, just remembered. There's Pete Carroll's already talking that he is going to be in the mix there. They want to make sure they add in a little bit. They're not going to completely give Gentry 95% of the touches there. Deep enough. You're not handcuffing this guy, right? No.
He's going to be in the waiver wire, and as soon as you see a day-to-day report on Ashton Gentry, he's going to be the number one waiver wire pickup. I don't see a world where it's so hard to waste draft capital because you just want to keep drafting guys on the highest return. And I mean, Raheem Mostert, I mean, he can do that for you. We've seen him just do it two seasons ago. So, but again, he's over the age of 30. I mean, what value are you really getting that when you just spent Gentry as a top 12 pick?
Yeah, I will say I'm going to be taking him probably in the Scott Fish Bowl, but that is a like 26 round draft that I'm taking. But he just got brought up in a conversation like, oh my gosh, there's no way we're going to be bringing up this guy again. No freaking way.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders 6.5 is their over under. Do you believe in Pete? You taking the over?
I'm taking the over, man. I am. I think they always like this division is just they always beat each other up. They always split each other, except for the Chiefs. Whatever, they go 5-1 or 6-0. But the rest of the guys, they split it. They always win one, lose one against each other. So,
and the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year, I believe. I believe that was one of their two.
No,
the Raiders beat
the year before that.
They beat the Ravens last year, is who it was.
Yeah, it was that random win in Baltimore. Yeah, no, I think this team can get 7 wins. I think that's, and maybe Vegas is trapping me. They're just like a bunch of suckers. They really think they're gonna get 7 wins, and they're just taking all this money in. But I'm a sucker, dude. It's a great line. Good for
6.5 is great because it's just tempting enough, and it's Pete Carroll at the helm. Like if I had to bet one or the other, I would take the over. If the plus money's on the over, it's definitely where I'm smashing. Just I believe in Pete. I thought he was going to be the savior for the Jets. I really thought that's where he was going to go.
Last question, Jack Besh. Are you anything that moves you at all with him?
I was really excited. We got a lot of hype from the Senior Bowl. We got a lot of hype leading into the draft. The second round draft capital was kind of surprising. It was a little bit high for him, so there was a lot leading up to it. But coming out of camp, there's been a lot of talk on the other rookie, I believe 4th or 5th round pick, Thornton. Yeah, I think the big reason is Besh. I've seen reports that he could play inside or outside. He's better in the slot. He's better in the inside. And that's where Jacoby Myers is playing. Trey Tucker's the other wide receiver. He's a bigger guy. He plays outside, and so does Thornton. So I think that's kind of the detriment of Besh at this point is Myers is just the one there, and that's what he's playing behind. So hopefully we can kind of see a point where he takes over and slides out there. But right now he's kind of off my radar.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm drafting. I think he goes undrafted in most of my leagues too.
Unfortunately, so much I took so much of him in Dynasty, just like where I've picked in the end of the second round. It's horrible right now. Oh man, folks, we got to get out of here. We got to shut it down. That will wrap up our 4 teams. But before we do, Brennan, let me know. Give me your ranking for this division. Give me the 4 teams.
I think that you got to, in order to beat the King, you got to take him down. I don't see it happening again. It's the Chiefs at 1. Broncos 2, Chargers 3, Raiders 4. I think how we did in that order.
Yeah, it's probably the smart one, but it's chalk. You're riding right there with Vegas. I'm gonna swap it. Give me the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I don't have anything crazy though with the Raiders. I'm not calling them to be second place in this division. Watch it happen though. Ooh. Yeah. Well, folks, thanks again for listening. We appreciate you being here with us. We're going to be coming at you 2 to 3 days a week, all the way up until the season starts. Look for our episodes. We've got the divisions here. AFC will be here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, so make sure you are subscribe. If you want to see the NFC shows, they will be on our YouTube page. Too Much Fantasy Football, as well as all of our mock drafts and a few other fun things for you. Like and subscribe there. It's at @TooMuch_Brian if you're looking for me on Twitter. Brennan, where can the people find you?
That Too Much Be Milk.
We'll see you next time, and we'll see you later.